Okay. So during the Zoom meeting, Professor, if you're watching, um, I'm on two different devices because I was going to record on my laptop and not and be able to talk off of my phone because my computer didn't have a microphone system implemented. So my phone was hosting, and I asked the laptop when I was trying to record it, asked permission to my phone to record, and I thought that it started recording at that point, but that was just the permission thing. So I totally messed up on that. And we kind of just barely went through the whole meeting. So this was kind of everyone that attended. So everyone was able to attend, which is fantastic. And we're gonna do a kind of a supplemental go through all the different material that we kind of talked about a little bit. And we'll just kind of do our best with that. Hopefully that works out great. It was my bad. And I told them if they do have somewhere else to be, because it was an hour-long meeting, basically, then they can be able to log off. So whoever
Yeah,
wants to, they can.
I'm actually gonna hop off because it's almost 11 o'clock out here where I live, and I still have homework due for another class. So, so I got to go.
That's fine.
All right, awesome guys. I hope you guys have good luck on your finals and that your semester wraps up well for you guys, and good luck in your future semesters, or if this is your last, whatever. But you guys have been a great group. It's been a pleasure to get to know all of you guys.
Oh, definitely. It has been fantastic get to know you.
Best of
All
luck, Stephanie.
right, bye guys.
We're all gonna destroy the final.
Awesome. All right, take care, guys.
Yes. Okay, so um while we still have Dorka here, do you want to give kind of a summarized thing of actually what you said for your role? And just a real quick one, because I think that I can be able to summarize it better than I could.
I got you, no worries. So I basically was just talking about self-reliance and how in Doctrine and Covenants 104:15-16, the Savior promises that his purpose is to provide for his saints, for all things are mine, but must needs be done in mine own way. And his ways include learning and living the principles of self-reliance, like the ability and commitment and effort to provide the necessities of life for self and family, and how this can just be an inspiration for others to do as well. And yeah, basically that's a little summary of what I said.
Awesome. Okay, now for number 4, where we talked about our different nuggets. I talked a little bit about how looking and taking from different systems and being able to have humility when looking and developing a program to be able to take good aspects of other programs and be able to implement them into your own. I don't know if y'all want to talk about your nuggets or real quick.
If you have your notes, Jennifer, it would be awesome if you could just like run
I
tiny bit of it.
I can read through the notes. I sent them over to Colby. So
Oh, where did you send them from?
I'm from Canvas because I didn't know how else to get them
Oh, okay, okay.
because it was a whole attachment.
Right.
Let's see. I talked about how a government big enough to give you everything you want is a government big enough to take everything you have, and the difference between a want and a need. That when we need assistance to meet a need, that's totally fine. When we're looking for things we want that we don't necessarily need, that sometimes we have to learn to sacrifice a little bit. And then Stephanie talked about Gandhi and his quote that there are people in the world so hungry that God, and then it cut out a little bit. But basically, that reminder in a book about Africa and doing missionary work and how they had no access to clean water and basic needs. And so these missionaries didn't get far until they were able to help people meet their basic water needs. And then once those basic needs were met, they were able to go somewhere. So when we get people out of survival mode, basic needs their basic needs are met, then not only is the precursor to spreading the gospel, but people are better able to focus on other things past Where am I gonna get my next drink of water?
Okay, I was able to pull up the notes. Dorka, did you want to say yours, or should I guess you kind of said yours with your a little bit with each other. That's true, you did. So now I guess I can go kind of to the next one, talking about the URL. We basically, so Stephanie and well, I guess all of us were able to find it easily with the exact wording. Something that was interesting was when Jennifer was able to like take out and only use specific words, then that's when you would get different search results. And that's when you could have difficulty being able to find some of the documents for the low home energy program. And then we talked a little bit about how sometimes when you're applying for these different programs and being able to try to figure out how to be able to do the forms, and Dorka talked about this really well, how these forms are just very difficult to be able to navigate and be able to process, maybe like going through the different links, being on the right websites, being able to navigate all the different things like that makes it just so hard to be able to fill out the different program. And then we kind of like talked about the Idaho Health and Welfare Application Assistance Program too at this point, and we implemented that also in our discussion, talking a little bit how that one was just a huge document that you had to fill out with so many of the different words. I talked a little bit about my Medicaid experience, how I wasn't able to fill out any of my like help for Medicaid until I had a specialist be able to come in and help me with the paperwork specifically. And I'm someone that should be like amazing with computers and all of that. I wasn't able to figure out, but it really took someone else to be able to come in to be able to help me with that. And then Stephanie talked about how imagine doing all of that and not being able to speak English. And that just adds like a whole bunch of like just complications, and even like the terminology that we use in English sometimes doesn't really work. And then Dorka talked about how she felt really bad about how big the form was, and that it was hard. She made it quite along the way and then just felt like disheartened, and so just was sympathizing with just how hard it would be for someone else being able to do that. Okay. Now for the different questions, like be able to pick and choose different questions from the primer. I generally asked which ones we kind of want to talk about, and we started out with one, and then we kind of jumped around a little bit, and also just had an overall discussion over the general topic type of thing. So I'm going to start with the one, and then we're going to go to the other one, and then I'm going to talk about some of the other things we randomly mentioned throughout. So the one we kind of focused on first was how can public assistance be given in a manner that encourages self-reliance, personal well-being, and resiliency. So Stephanie started out by saying that she really liked how the church builds its self-reliance program and the welfare assistance program, making it so that they have to be able to progress in a way. And let's see. And then she talked about how with Head Start programs, you're investing in these kids to be able to help them be able to have happier lives. So like with different programs, a lot of times it's important to be able to invest in preventative things instead of repair things. So instead of maybe putting so much in welfare, maybe also helping in preventative measures that would really help a lot. I said that what makes a program be able to build self-reliance and be able to help them be able to get out of program is being able to create opportunities. So those that are in horrible situations and stay in horrible situations don't feel like they have any more opportunities, that they can be able to go any more places. And so if your program is able to create opportunities for the people that are in it, then they can be able to succeed and be able to get out of the program. Like maybe they learn a skill and then they can get a job and then they can actually be able to live on their own means, different things like that. Stephanie said more community-based means that we feel more involved and take care of each other. Just going back to previous lessons, if we involve the community and be able to build each other up, then the community is so much stronger and there is just much more of a safety in that living situation. So being able to implement that would be really huge in this some sort of welfare program. Dorka talked about a wonderful program that she was able to experience. She lives in New Jersey, and there is a program um with mothers. I'm sorry.
It's called Week.
Huh?
It's called Week. And I can give
Yeah.
a
Oh,
tiny
it definitely is.
break. Yeah, because you're speaking a lot and I feel terrible. So basically,
It's
I was just talking about Week, how it's a program here in New Jersey that inspires mothers to become self-reliant, and that goes by not only providing services for them but educating them. So then they get the courage and they get the knowledge to care for their own kids. This especially like really reinforces the importance of breast milk. So that way, them instead of looking for formula help, like helping for formula, they teach them how to get breast milk, even to those that think that there is absolutely no chance for them. And it just becomes like such an empowering tool for them to also feel like they're doing their best for their kids. And eventually, if they are able to do that, they could easily come off the program and, just feel much better about what they accomplished. And it just goes to show how self-reliance is such a key thing for programs to inspire, because it can really make a big difference in people and communities.
Oh, thank you. I think that was much better coming from you, being able to since you experienced the program. Okay. And being able to have the example of a specific program that was able to actually promote these really good things that we were talking about was just awesome. And Stephanie said that program interwoven with other parts makes it feel more like a team effort than just like a system by itself that just feels kind of disjointed. And then this is the point where we kind of like jumped around to other questions too. So now we I think talked a little bit about other programs that we really liked. And so we're going to the question, what are some major social programs and government offices that help children, youth, and families? And Stephanie said the diaper program that she introduced to us, it was one of the nonprofits that she talked about in the past week, where they help provide diapers for families that need them. And that was just such a important thing because we think about food, income, shelter type of thing, but sometimes we don't think of things like diapers, which is a daily expense that certain people have to make. And then that I basically said that it's just very important to be able to think programs that be able to think past things like that. Then Stephanie asked the question about Sweden's maternal paternal leave for the whole year and how it was just such a lot on the tax dollars going towards it. And is that something that is that important? And because they are investing in these children at that time to be able to be raised in such good families and then later be able to have much more of a family focus type of thing. Is that worth such the effort put into it and the money put into it, because that is a lot that is going into it. And then Dorka talked a lot about a personal experience to her. I don't know if she wants to talk it from here, or do you want me to summarize from like the notes?
I'm sorry, what's the question again?
So you talked a little bit about how when you were a mother and how you really appreciated Sweden's program a lot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, like I think it's great that taxpayer money goes to to really promoting the families and supporting them, especially mothers, because when children are babies, they really need their moms. They need as much care as they can possibly get just to help with their development. And here in the US, you have states like mine, New Jersey, that gives 12 weeks maternity and paternity leave paid. But that's not the case in every single state, and it varies by country as well. So it's just very important to support families, because then the children can be better taken care of and not be put at risk, like maybe putting them on daycares too early where they can get sick and then their development is not the same. So yeah, those were my takeaways.
That was awesome. I think that's important to hear from a mom. And from a dad's perspective, I gave my little bit of insight from my personal experience. So when I had my daughter, I was able to have 4 weeks off, paid 100%, and that was only due to um, a large corporation that I work for. They allowed that, and so I felt very blessed to be able to have my 4 weeks that I was solely focused on being able to spend time with my daughter and my family. But that was just so short, really, in the long term, thinking about how it was only 4 weeks, you know. Then I talked a little bit about how different countries put different emphasis on, families. And I gave an experience with Japan, how they are so work focused and so career focused that they don't really put that much effort into families necessarily. So they have a insane drop in birth rates and different things like that. And I just gave the thought that, like Stephanie was saying, that it's just so important to invest in the different family lifestyle, because they are the future and they are the culture that the country will develop into. And how Dorka put it, just being able to care for your child and be able to raise and have that emphasis on family is just so huge, and you can't really put a price on it. It's just so important. Um, okay. So this last little section is about the welfare queen. And so I put up the question on the different thoughts about the welfare queen, because we talked about how Sweden has this wonderful program, and with that big of a program, I feel like there might be some that might want to take advantage of it, like the welfare queen kind of did with welfare, and how she made upwards of $150,000 off of just basically taking advantage of it. Um, Stephanie basically said that it was basically a horrible shame, because there's so many people that need welfare and that are maybe just on it temporarily, but it just kind of ruined the whole look of it and made it seem like everyone that's on it was taking advantage of it, and that made it so that the nation kind of like shamefully looked at people on welfare necessarily, and they just all thought of them as different, taken advantage of, and like there was a lot of political discourse about different things like that. And then Dorcas said, highlighting the importance of self-reliance, so that you don't get used to people solving your problems for you, and it's a collective effort into inspiring self-reliance. So, just talking about how self-reliance is just so important to be able to implement into a program. It's just so important because if it's not implemented, then they can't ever really get out of it, and it gets a perpetual loop. And we kind of all agreed that it was just so sad to be able to hear about this system where it's helping so many good people, that there was people that actually was taking advantage of it. Let's see. I'm trying to think of if there's any other thoughts that weren't mentioned that we kind of talked about in that section.
I think you did really well. I think you summarized everything. We basically just, everybody gave their point of view, and it was mostly like how self-reliance is so important because, when you get things handed to you, that can easily turn into a bad habit, and things just can turn ugly very easily. But with that value of self-reliance, you are more likely to want to pursue better options and make better choices for yourself and not turn to fraud the way that she did it. So yeah, now maybe you can just like speak a little bit about the networker, what she spoke about, Stephanie.
Oh, the Children of Nations? Or
Yeah,
are you
I
talking
believe
about self-reliance?
no, just her networking.
Her networking.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
like she spoke about I forgot exactly what nonprofit she found.
So it was called the Children of Nations. And so it's a Christ-centered care in the lives of destitute orphans. And it's a deep investment in children in the way to lasting change, and it helps better communities and foster children. So it looks like it's a very Christ-centered organization that helps foster kids and orphans be able to, and communities all be able to grow together and be able to find their communities and their families and their belongings type of thing. Do you remember anything else she kind of said about it?
I think they also like equip them with resources, right? For them to um to become more independent. But you summarized it pretty nicely.
Okay. I was just taking words from the wonderful scribe right there. Okay, so for the assignments for next week, I gave everyone it off. Then no one is doing any assignments next week. A little joke at the end. Okay.
Yay.
Okay. I think that is everything. Thanks y'all for the summary. Thanks for sticking around. And thanks for the wonderful class, Professor, if you're watching. Bye, I'll miss y'all.
Bye guys, it's been great having
Bye.
you.